Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there and welcome back. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and welcome to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Today I have a special guest. Her name is Barbara Palmer. Hey, Barbara, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, and thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here today and cannot wait to dive into some of your background and your story and also talk about the things that you have going on right now this second. So it'll be very interesting. Before we get started, though, let me just give our listeners and viewers a little bit of your background so they can kind of get to know you.
Okay.
So Barbara Palmer, a.k.a. the Courageous Diva, is a two-time breast cancer survivor who is a breast cancer awareness advocate, spokesperson, as well as a motivational speaker. She has been teaching, encouraging, and inspiring numerous women locally and nationally throughout their cancer journey. Since the age of 16, Barbara Palmer has recognized the importance of giving back to the community. Some of her volunteer efforts include feeding the homeless, volunteering at the Maryland Food Bank, and even volunteering in 2013 at the White House annual Easter egg roll hosted by the 44th elected President of the United States, Barack Obama, and First Lady Michelle. Barbara also continues to do her passion, which is assisting women one-on-one who has recently been diagnosed with breast cancer. Her website is a one-stop resource center for newly diagnosed breast cancer patients. Her resources include everything from emotional and financial assistance to how to get free wigs, scarves, and retreats. Wow, that's really amazing. Definitely a lot going on there, and talk about overcoming different obstacles. You know, being a 2 times cancer survivor, that's something that is really really good for you, right? That you definitely were able to overcome that. So that's very amazing. Before we tapped into that, I always like to ask everyone to give me a little bit of their backstory. When they were growing up, where are you originally from? And let's talk about your childhood for a second.
Okay. Usually my childhood is something that I don't talk about very often because it's something that haunts me. It's something that I'm not very happy with. But I also realize that in order to heal from my childhood, I need to talk about it more. Mm-hmm. But to answer your question, I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. One brother younger, one brother older. And I did grow up with a mother and father. However, I don't really think they loved each other. And they never really showed us that they loved us. So I always felt unloved. And I really did not have a relationship with my mother at all. And that really affected me because as I was growing up as a young girl, all my girlfriends loved their mothers. They talked about their mothers all the time. My mother's my best friend, but I never felt those things about my mother. And even up to the day that she died, we really never developed a relationship. We got a little better after my dad passed away. My dad died 4 years before she did. So I did get a little closer to her. But we never had what the typical loving daughter relationship where my mother taught me things and we went places together. We never had that kind of relationship. And as I stated earlier, I was always very embarrassed about that until about maybe 2 years ago. I was at an event. It was an all-women's event. And it was a healing event. And one of the ladies shared her story about the relationship she had with her mom, and it almost sounded like mine. And it made me feel better because I was like, you know what, you're not the only one that didn't have a relationship with your mother. So it still haunts me every now and then, but what I had to learn is, I guess my mother did the best she could with what she knew. And so I'm kind of glad you're making me talk about this a little bit, because I think someone's listening that needs to hear this. And it's okay. I can't live in the past. It is what it is. So.
Yeah, and you know, one thing that you mentioned, you said you have to talk about it to be able to heal from that, and I believe that, right? You know, I'm not sure when, you know, obviously if growing up went through this, the way our mind works is a sponge between 0 to 7, right? The age of 0 to 7. So whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever kind of attention we get, anything that happens between that age, it really creates for us our next moves, like how we're gonna be performing the years to come, right? And so you have to be able. So if you go through something difficult or something challenging that was not as easy as we think it should have been, you know, we have to be able to heal from that, right? And I believe that a lot of people that perhaps that are also listening to us might be going through something through that, and to me, it's one of those things you have to overcome, even if you still haven't. You've been able to live with that for so many years, right? So how you go about it? So that's probably one of the other questions I have is like, how do you cope with all of that, or how did you cope with that?
Well, you know, it's really funny because a lot of times when people, and we all have been through something through our childhood or something in a relationship that makes us the way that we are, and it may not be a good thing, but what I learned, because of the way I grew up, I knew I did not want to grow up in that type of environment. I wanted to be better. I wanted to show the people in my life that I loved them. I wanted to tell the people in my life that I loved them. And once again, there was no affection given to us as kids. So I really didn't even know what that was all about. I never knew what it was about to hear my mother or father say, I love you. And so it really had a big impact on me. And on top of that, my father was very emotionally abusive to my mom, as well as physically abusive. So I saw that. And so I just made the decision, actually probably at the age of 8, that I did not want to grow up in that environment. I just wanted to do the opposite. And so for me, and I'm very grateful, because I grew up in that negative environment, it has helped me be the person that I am today. And the person that I am today is someone that's very affectionate, very compassionate, very loving. And one of my best characteristics is I do not judge people. I do not judge people, because we all have skeletons in our closets. We all have things that we've done that we're not proud of. And so be it. Who am I to judge you?
Right.
Who am I to judge you?
Yeah, no, and you know, I love that again too. And anything we do, even in today's time, whether we're going through our business, we're going through a relationship, anything that we go through, it comes down to one fundamental, and you just mentioned that, is you have the ability and the power to choose. And you chose at that time to not be part of that environment, and you had to do whatever you had to do. Some people would just give up and say, okay, well, you know, what is that saying? If I cannot beat them, I need to join them. I think the contrary. You have to make your choices, right? And you did. And then after that, this came out. You know, you came out. You started building other stuff in your life. And I think that's critical, though. Again, you know, who we were in the past is who we are today, right? Number one. Number two, I also believe that we cannot live in the past. We cannot live on hanging up on that past, right? That's just merely an experience, an educational experience, a lesson. And yet that made us be who we are now based on the choices that we made. So obviously, you've gone through many different obstacles and challenges. Let's talk about the first time you were diagnosed with cancer.
The first time I was diagnosed with cancer was actually like a birthday present for me.
Oh my God.
I always was a woman that always went to the doctor when I was supposed to. I got my mammograms every year, and on 3 separate occasions, there had been lumps found in my right breast, which always ended up to be nothing.
Yeah.
So when I went around my 47th birthday and the lump was found, my doctor and I, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. Well, surprise, surprise, it was something. It turned out to be breast cancer. So this is such a lot. It's so much I could say about that. But I will just say this about my first cancer diagnosis, and something that I'm very proud of. I was never angry that I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I never said, why did this happen to me? Because I already knew why it happened to me. Because I believe in purpose, and I believe that things happen to us so we can help other people. And so I have always had a wonderful sense of humor. I always like to make people laugh. And there's really nothing funny when you're sick or you're going through a challenge. Why do you want to laugh? It's not funny. But you have to get through your challenges with laughter, or else you're not going to make it. So with my first diagnosis, I realized that God was going to use me to help other women see the humor in having cancer. So I will say this, cancer is certainly not something that I would wish on my worst enemy. It was going through chemotherapy treatment was the worst, probably the worst thing that has ever happened in my life thus far. And I vowed that if my cancer came back, I would never go through chemotherapy again. But through that journey, there's also some beautiful things that came out of it as well. It really found out how much people loved me, how much people cared about me. And it also taught me that when people love you, they want to help you. And one of the problems that I had as an independent woman, I didn't want anybody to help me. I can do everything myself. Oh, I don't need you. I don't know you. Even when I needed it. No, I don't need you. I don't need you. And so cancer made me humble myself and realize, yes, you do need help. And if you have somebody that want to help you, you let them help you. And so that was one of the greatest lessons that cancer taught me. And because of my cancer experiences, I have met some of the most amazing women in this world. And it really has prepared me, and it showed me what my purpose and my journey is. And basically, my passion is helping women get through their cancer journey, but it's even way beyond that. And I really didn't even realize it was going to go beyond that, because other people look to me for motivation that have never had cancer. So I'm just here to motivate and inspire everybody.
Yeah, no, I love that. And so let me ask you this, like, definitely, like you said, going through something like that is not easy, or getting those news, yet alone in your birthday, like getting that in your birthday or something like that, getting that news is not good. So as you mentioned, you were not angry at it. You kind of already knew what was your purpose. What led to that, though? Because I believe that you have to have done something previously to put you in that positive state of mind to be obviously it was I'm sure it was emotionally drained, yet you were prepared for it, right? Like you said, you were ready to kind of accept it to an extent without being angry. Something, though, previously led you to that. So was it you working on yourself? Was it you, what was it that led to that for you to be positive and have that?
Well, I guess I realized early on that when you're positive and change your mindset about things, it makes all the difference in the world. And as mentioned in my short bio, I've been volunteering since the age of 16. So I have always recognized the importance of helping others and helping the community. And cancer, especially breast cancer in African American women, that's a biggie. That is really a biggie. It's a disparity there. Women, some of us, we don't take care of ourselves. We're afraid to go to the doctor. And so I said, you know what? I have to be the person to make them see that it's okay to go through this cancer. And it's definitely not a death sentence. A lot of people think cancer and you immediately think death. Oh no, let me tell you, honey, I'm living my best life. You see me here?
Yeah, look at that.
Better than Bowley.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm living my best life because of cancer. And it's so many more things I want to do and have to do. So I just thank God for giving me an opportunity to not only survive it once, but survivor twice. So I said, he ain't through with me yet. He got work for me to do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, right? Again, just staying with that positivity and going through that. You have something here that I like that you mentioned, and you mentioned here. So here it is. Okay, so you actually became a laughter yoga leader. I want to know what that is. Although you're saying laughter yoga is a group exercise with the concept that you can laugh for no reason at all, and it's combined with deep breathing and meditation. Let's talk about that and how did that come about?
Well, actually, I was introduced to laughter yoga probably about 10 years ago. I went to a cancer event, and there was a woman there that actually did laughter yoga. Laughter yoga was actually discovered back in 1995 by a doctor from India with 5 people. And as we all know, laughter is the best medicine. And there is actually a doctor here in Baltimore who is a cardiologist, and he actually prescribes on his prescription laughter. And laughter yoga is that deep laughter, that deep belly laughter that makes your stomach hurt and that makes you cry. And so because I always love to laugh and know how important laughter is to make you feel better, and Lord knows we need it more now than ever before. Lord.
Yeah.
So when I had the opportunity last year to be certified to do it, I said, oh, wow, this is just going to fit so perfectly into what I always believe in and what I always do. So unfortunately, because of what's going on now, I haven't been able to get out to events and all. I really haven't been able to do the group thing, but I will also mention that in laughter yoga, there's several components to it. Of course, there's laughter. As the leader, I come up with these scenarios and we just laugh our butts off about it. There's clapping involved, there's shouting involved, acting childlike. There's also deep breathing involved, as well as a little meditation involved. And once it's all over, you just feel a weight has lifted off of you. And so I'm not really good with technology. That's something I'm working on. That might be one of your later questions, but I have to learn how to embrace this technology because I really would like to take that online and make people laugh during this very difficult time.
Yeah.
It's so needed. It's so needed.
Right. And I actually have a mentor, and one of the things that he does as part of his self-development, a 3-day self-development, he actually inducts laughing into one of his sessions, and it's the same thing. Out of nowhere, you start triggering the mind and yourself to start laughing out of nowhere for no particular reason, right? Yes. And I think that's critical because when you are able to see that you can change your emotions out of nowhere, go from maybe being upset to really changing that to being grateful, to being happy, to being, to laugh. You have more power than you think when you are able to recognize that you're able to make those minor changes on the spot, right? And so I definitely, I can definitely agree to that this practice is definitely something that, definitely people should try to look into that. It's a good healing practice, right? For any given aspect.
Yes. And what you'll notice about laughter too, you can be in a separate room, or you can see someone across the room and they are laughing like crazy and you have no idea what in the world they're laughing at, but it makes you laugh because laughing is contagious.
Yeah.
So you have no reason why you laughing, but you just start laughing too. So, I am trying. All this technology stuff is new to me, but that's something that I'm working on.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. No, that's good. And then at which point in your life did you pretty much became more or less, an entrepreneur or a speaker or wanted to do this, on your own?
Well, as far as speaking, when I first became diagnosed with breast cancer, I became a mentor right away.
Okay.
And my passion And what I love more than anything is mentoring women one-on-one. And I realized I had power in my speaking when I was speaking to these women. And I realized, wow, you really are having an impact on them. You need to share your story more and with more people. And so that's when I realized I needed to use my voice to help those going through the cancer journey. But one of my other testimonies, and you made me talk about my, you got me to talk about my childhood, which is something I really don't do. So, but I guess I really do appreciate it because it really is needed. Yeah. But the other thing that I like to speak about is forgiveness. How important forgiveness is, and to just to try to make this as short as possible. I had not spoke. My oldest brother is now deceased. He died 2 years ago. But prior to his death, we had not spoke for about 3 years. And that was because when my cancer came back, he was never there for me. And I was angry about that. He lived right here in Baltimore. He never picked up the phone to say, hi, how you doing, what you need. And I was upset about that. Mm-hmm. And so one day he picked up the phone and he said to me, oh, I'm calling you because so-and-so said that's the thing I need to do. So I'm like, you know what? If you're calling me because somebody's telling you that's what you need to do, then don't call me anymore. And I slammed down the phone. So probably about 3 years had passed. And meanwhile, my brother is getting sick. His health is failing. And I really didn't know just how sick he was getting. And to make a long story short, after leaving church one day, I found out my brother was in the hospital. And I decided that I needed to forgive him because I don't know how much longer he's going to be here. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. And I don't want to die with the guilt that I was angry at my brother. So I went down to the hospital to see my brother. I walked in his room, and needless to say, he was shocked to see me. I was the last person. But the last 15 months of my brother's life was some of the best times of his life as well as mine. And at that point in time, about 9 months before my brother passed away, I decided to retire from corporate America. And that was like the best decision I ever made because my brother ended up living in a nursing home. So I was able to be his advocate. I was able to go to the nursing home to see him every day. I was able to go with him to all his doctor's appointments. And we really, really, really developed a beautiful friendship. And I thank God every day for allowing that to happen. And there have been some wonderful things that's been happening for me and to me. And I always say, Raymond, that's you. You're my guardian angel. You're looking out for your sister. You're making these great things come to be for me. So thank you. But it was hard, and it's hard to forgive people, especially if they are the ones that cause the rift, Yeah. But what I try to tell people, it doesn't really matter whose fault it was. And a lot of times people are walking around mad at each other and they don't even know why.
No, why? Yeah.
So long ago, they don't know why. They don't know. I don't know whether it's your fault. You don't know whether it's my fault. But none of that matters anymore. What matters is that you go to that person and you say, I'm sorry. And if the person does not want to embrace your forgiveness, then that's on them. That's not on you. But you have to do this. I'm saying making up with my brother is probably one of my greatest joys in my life, to just be able to be there for him. And he was just so appreciative of everything that I did. It was hard. And I will say, dealing with somebody in a nursing home, and especially with all the problems that my brother had, to me, that was worse than dealing with my cancer journey. It was very rough on me. But if I had to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Right. Yeah. And going back to forgiveness, it's important I think it's very important to forgive other people and forgive yourself too, right?
Yes.
Along that journey. And as you mentioned, I forget who I listened to it. I think it was either Les Brown or Jim Rohn, somebody said this, and they said, you're here thinking about that person's mad at me, and you're so worried about that person, what they think of you, or you got into an argument with them, whatever the case may be, and all along, they're not even thinking of you. They forgot.
Yes.
They're already gone, and you're here,
true.
you're living with that yourself. Like, no,
Yes.
just forgive yourself, forgive them,
Yes.
whether you did it to them or they did it to you, just forgive and move on, right?
Yes.
Because
I'm sorry. That's one of the things I have to work. I'm a little slow to forgive myself sometimes. I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
Still working on that. We all make mistakes, and sometimes I'm like, I can't believe you did that. Barbara, let it go.
Right.
It's in the past. It's nothing. Move on.
Yeah. No, definitely. And then, so when did your second cancer come back? When did that happen?
Well, my second cancer actually came back almost 8 years exactly from my first diagnosis in 2011. And it had come back in the same breast, which meant I would have to have a mastectomy in the right breast. But I had made a decision in 2003 when I was first diagnosed that if it did come back, I would just have a double mastectomy. And so, and I wasn't mad about that either, because I'm thinking, listeners, I hope I'm not offending anybody, but I just like to keep it real.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know what? This may not be so bad. I'm going to have a double mastectomy, and I'm going to get a chance to decide what size breast I want. I'm going to get some time off from work.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I was thinking, God, I am now going to be able to help so many more people, because prior to me having my mastectomy, I could not identify with a woman that had lost her breast or were about to lose her breast. It hadn't happened to me. I could identify with going through the cancer treatments. I could identify with radiation, but I could not identify with the loss of your breast. Because as they say, unless you have walked in somebody's shoes, you don't have a clue. And so when I had to have the mastectomy, I said, okay, God, in exchange for me getting some new perky breasts and get some time off from work, you now are going to further my purpose, and I'm going to be able to help a lot more women. And so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for that. And breasts do not make you who you are. And some women unfortunately don't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, no. That's amazing though. Like I love that. It just gave you further purpose. It gave you the ability to get to more. It gave you, in your mind, you're not even thinking about, man, I'm gonna lose them, and you're thinking more like, man, I'm going to empower more people. I'm going to inspire more people. Again, that's amazing. When you think about that, if we were to step away from anything that we're going through, if we were to step away from all the negativity, even like right now, especially in these times right now, right, where we see so much negative programs, we hear so many negative stuff. If we were to step away from that and say, okay, what can I do here? What are the great things that I can do for myself, for my family? If you're a person like yourself or myself that we're trying to get to and help out more people, how can I help more people? How can I reach more people? When you start thinking about it from that perspective, in that content, man, like it's amazing, right? It's definitely amazing. So, no, that's great. I love that attitude though, and it comes down to having that positive attitude and saying, you know what, I'm not gonna let this defeat me. I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to make sure that I push through, and that's exactly what you've done. I see in the back of your wall you have a lot of medals.
Yeah.
What is that? Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes. Okay. Well, at the ripe old age of 57, I decided I wanted to be a runner and actually do races. And so in September of 2017, I started running. And in April, at the age of 58, I did my first half marathon. So what you see on my wall is over 50-some medals of the different races that I have participated in.
Wow.
I did 2. I've been to Canada to run, Jamaica to run, throughout the U.S. to run. Usually one of the older women in the group, but nevertheless, they are running. And that just, you can do anything you want to do. And most of the women that I ran with locally in Baltimore when we were training, I think I was usually the older one. But I'm a spunky old lady, okay? Let me tell you, I got a lot of energy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, so I stopped running in. I actually stopped running in 2016, and the only reason why I stopped running in 2016 or doing races is because I knew that God had a bigger plan for me, and God had a bigger vision for me. And at that time, I had been at the same corporation 40 years, and I'm thinking, Lord, I have got to do something else so I can impact people more, do it on my terms. And so I made a decision. I made a vision board, and I set up a date that I was going to retire on a certain date. And that's exactly what I did. So I retired April 1st of 2017. Mm-hmm. So I could pursue my dreams. And that was really when I had reestablished my relationship with my brother. So the first 9 months of my retirement was clearly devoted to my brother, which was fine because I was glad that I was able to be there for him. I didn't have to get permission to leave work and all that stuff. So that was a blessing. What I try to tell people, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm too old to do that," or "Oh, I can't do that." Honey, let me tell you something. You're never too old. That's my motto. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm never too old. I'm never going to be too old. I have so many things I want to do, so many more people I want to help. I want to impact the world. So I'm never too old. And as long as I'm here, that's what I'm going to do. And I would like to share one thing with you, that what I've done. So prior to this pandemic, I was always out and about in the community. And I actually have a women's group that meet once a month. I called it Courageous Divas Circle of Inspiration and Hope. And I would have a speaker come in to share an amazing testimony because we all need hope. We all need to be inspired. I truly believe that. So of course everything shut down and I'm like, okay, what can I do? I'm not really computer savvy. And I literally cried because I was home and I couldn't figure out how I was going to help anybody without putting my health in jeopardy. And so I started a group for single women. It's called Single Women Going Through the Pandemic Together. And it's a closed Facebook group, and we meet on Zoom every other week. We just had our meeting last night. I had someone come in and do meditation. And what I've learned through that group is that women are broken. Women are so broken. I'm sure men are too, but because I'm a woman, I know that we are just so broken and we need to heal. We need to hear somebody else's story so you know that you are not alone. And so that is one of my purposes for starting the group too. So to share our stories, to support each other, to know that you're not alone.
Yeah. No, that's and I was going to ask you that you kind of just mentioned that you're never too old, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people, whether they're listening to us or not, or just in general, that they're like, well, I'm already up in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever age that might be, and now they're taking that as an excuse to not be able to push through. And obviously, with you, surviving cancer, for you, from doing all this stuff that you did, running and at the age of 57, all of that is a testament that you're not too old to do anything, right? It's really up to you what you want to be able to do and create with yourself. So in terms of one thing that I notice a lot is you have a lot of positivity. So I'm curious to know, are there any specific things that you do on a day-to-day basis that are either habits or rituals or things that just you do on a day-to-day basis to put you in this state of mind?
Absolutely, and a great question. I do have a morning ritual that I do every morning. And if I don't do it, or if I miss one of the rituals, it throws me off balance and it really messes up my day. So when I initially wake in the morning, the first thing I do is pray. I thank God for allowing me to wake up and see another day. I do some gratitude affirmations. I do listen to some motivational inspirations. I also listen to some music, some upbeat music to get me up and running. And depending on how the weather is, I like to go for a walk. I love to move, and people don't understand how important it is to move. I love to move. So I try to go for a walk almost every day. And if I don't walk, I try to do something at home, because there's so much stuff on the internet now, because I'm not really disciplined enough to just do something myself. So I'll find something to do. And that really helps my mind. It gets me started with I can do anything. I can be anything. I am all of that and a bag of chips.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I love that. Yeah. So how long ago did you build this ritual? Is it something you've been doing for quite some time, or when did you realize that was important to do in your life?
Actually, I really didn't get into it until after I had retired. I retired 3 years ago, and Lord knows I wish I had that ritual when I was working, because I sure enough could have used it then.
Right.
Dealing with the stress. But it was really probably after that I realized how important it was to start your mindset. It's so important that you start your mind off right. And one of the other things I do on Facebook, and I really didn't even realize people were paying that much attention to me, but I post something positive on my Facebook page every day, every single, and I've been doing that for a couple of years now, and I really didn't realize how much people expected that until I was late one day and I got fussed out.
Where's the post? I'm waiting for this. Yeah.
Where's the post? So you just never know what somebody's going through. And the other thing I try to do too, when I'm out and about, maybe not so much now with this pandemic, but I always think that when you see people, when you meet people on the street or store, wherever, to smile at them. Say hello to them, because you don't know what that person's going through. Your smile, your wonderful hello could just make all the difference in the world to that person. So I always try to smile at people and say something nice. You just don't know. You just don't know. Because everybody's going through something.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, and rather than seeing somebody or looking at somebody in any particular way, that smile or that maybe good morning, hello, whatever that might be, that can change that person's day.
Yes.
And so, you can, everybody can make a difference if even just by doing that simple task, and you don't even know it, right? So
cost you nothing. Not a thing.
Exactly.
Not a thing.
Yeah, definitely. So, Barbara, I definitely have had a really good time with you. I have a couple more questions before I let you go. Number one is, talk about the program that you have right now that you work with women. What is it composed of? What is that program about?
Well, the program that is now kind of shut down was a program that I have at a senior center.
Okay.
And once again, it's called Courageous Divas, Circle of Inspiration and Hope. And as I stated, I have different women come in. This is a women's group only. Because, and the reason why I make it women's group only, because sometimes we need to share things around each other and they don't feel comfortable if there's a man around.
Yeah.
So I just think it's important that people hear testimonies. And what I always tell people is, when you go through something, whether it's a financial hardship, a health hardship, whatever the case may be, what you're going through, it may not even be for you. It may be for somebody that you haven't even met yet. But whatever it is, you're going to be able to help somebody, but you have to tell your story. And I do realize that everybody's not like me. As soon as you get something, you don't mind talking about it. But in time, I believe that everybody has a responsibility to share whatever they have been through or going through, because it's going to help somebody else get through, because people feel so alone. And so the new group that I started, thank God for social media, and I'm trying to learn how to use it, is, like I say, it's single women that are now, we're alone and we're going through we're going through something we've never seen before. And we don't know how long it's going to last. It's forever changing. We just need to be uplifted. We need to be motivated. So we talk about some serious things, but then also have some fun stuff too. Like last night we had a meditation. In 2 weeks I'm gonna do my laughter yoga. 2 weeks from then I'm gonna have one of my girlfriends who's only 23 years old. She lost her 3-year-old son a month ago. Wow. And she's ready to talk about it. So she's my pillar of strength, and so she's gonna come in and share her story. So until I work on some more social media stuff, there's plenty more for me to do.
No, that's awesome.
But now I need to learn.
No, that's good. And then if people wanted to connect with you, maybe some of the females that are listening to our show, where can they find you? Okay,
well, my email address is courageousdiva2011 at yahoo.com. So, ladies, if you are recently diagnosed with breast cancer, or you know someone that was recently diagnosed with breast cancer and they need someone to talk to or just listen to, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to walk them through their journey. But I'm a keep it real type chick. So, be careful. I'm not going to
sugarcoat it.
Things pretty. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So, I also have a breast cancer accessory online store. If you Google Courageous Diva, all my stuff basically will come up. I started my store probably about 2 years ago with breast cancer accessories, because breast cancer survivors, we love to wear breast cancer stuff. And it's very difficult to find unless it's the month of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I made the decision I was going to make that available anytime.
Got it.
So my Courageous Diva online collection store. I'm also on Facebook, Barbara Palmer. I have a Facebook business page, Courageous Diva. I'm on Twitter and Instagram yet. Don't ask me about that yet, because I don't use that. I'm telling you, dare to live boldly. I think my one of my handles is dare to live boldly.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, I gotta work that out. But I'm just so thankful and so blessed to still be here. And I honestly believe that when this is all over, you're not going to want to talk to me when this is all over, dear, because I'm going to be
there you go.
I'm going to be the woman. You think I'm something now?
Oh, man. I can't wait to see that. That's awesome. No, that's good. So you've given us a lot of great tips. One last question for you. If you were you're definitely a true testament of overcoming different obstacles in your life. And you talked about your childhood, so that's definitely something you're working through. What would be one more thing that you can tell our listeners or viewers if they're going through some sort of challenge right now? What can they do now to overcome that?
Well, first of all, I think it's okay to grieve for a minute, because when something devastating happens to you, especially in this time, people just lost their jobs out of the blue. You got to take time to grieve about it a little bit, but you just can't stay there. But if you need time to grieve, grieve. And then you need to step back and think, well, what can I do to make this better? Or what can I do to help someone else that may be going through this? Because support is everything. You're not the only one that's going through something. You're not the only person that's going through this thing. So take the time to grieve. That's a given. That's a must. But also move forward and realize that out of this challenge, something wonderful is going to happen for you and for other people, because you had the courage to fight it and to make it through.
Awesome. I love that. Definitely. No, that's great. And I love what you said. Support is everything. You're not the only one going through something. And when you think about it from that perspective, you're right. Like,
yes.
There might be something, like you said, your story or whatever your experience might be. that might be able to help somebody else. And again, I didn't see it from that perspective. No, I love that. Barbara, once again, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to mention before I let you go?
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to meet you today. And thank you so much for having me on your show. And I hope, if nothing else, that I have encouraged or inspired at least one person.
Yeah.
I hope so, if nothing else.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Barbara, for being here. For the rest of you guys, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure that you can check us out at any platform, your favorite podcast platform. And do me a favor, if you can please share this video or this link. Also come in here and drop some comments. We want to hear about you. Subscribe to the channel and definitely let us know what you think. And stay tuned for the next episodes that are coming up in the near future. Have a good day.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you tuned in to this podcast. You can find me at Spreaker.com, where you can like and subscribe. And to learn more about myself and my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at Facebook under Cesar R. Espino. Once again, thanks for joining me. I am looking forward to having you at the next episode, and know that you truly can overcome anything.